I'm Tokes Beverly Coker, my full name. I like to use the Nigerian and the English name because both names are both male and female. So I like to feel that I'm both male and female. In my former incarnation, I was a male, and this incarnation is my female, and it's my last incarnation before I move on to something else. So I like to be Tokes Beverly Coker. That's why I don't have any kids. You, my children, and my grandchildren, and everything. Then I call myself an alchemical coach, but when I say it, it never sits well with me. So I don't know what to call myself. So I use the word alchemical coach. So I don't know whether I should say a soul coach, but I don't know. I will go with what comes through while you're introducing me. You've seen my certification and all that, so whatever you say, I will flow with it. Yeah. So energy will go into you, and you'll know how best, because you know who the people you've introduced, and you know how you could introduce me. So shall we go with that flow, so that we work on the basis of total trust? Yeah? Can I just do a bit of invocation? Your Shakti, Prem. O legions of light, we are gathered by the legion of Prem, and the legion of Shakti, for I am legion of light. Tokes, legion of light, Prem, legion of light, Shakti, legion of light. Tokes, we gather now in the sacred space to make an offering to the world, to the galaxy, for we are legions of light. Thank you. Just to call our power in.
To Heart with me, Shakti Sundari. We're here today with Tokes Beverly Coker and also Hands of Light, who is, well, actually she'll tell us who that is in a minute, but we're just really blessed to be here with Tokes Beverly Coker, who is an amazing channel for many divine energies that are here to awaken the world at this time. She works with individuals, she works with groups, but she works way beyond that on many different levels and dimensions. So I'm feeling really blessed and honoured to be here and looking forward so much to speaking with you. Kind of want to say with you all.
Yes. Yes, you are correct. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So when we came into the room, it was very clearly Tokes, and now you've done this invocation and we're in communion, and I feel as if I'm in communion with presence beyond this dimension. That's what I feel. So can you explain that to me?
Yes, thank you. We are honored by the statement that you have just made. It is the spark of your divine magic and the essence of you and the wonderful being of light you work with and beings of light you work with. So when we invoke and we call forth beings of light beyond this dimension. We call them legions of light because there are many names, so we call them a collective. Now, the legions of light are made up of angels, ascended masters, the Galactic Federation, extraterrestrials, and more. So each person has a legion of light around them when they're working with the light. So when you call and invoke them, you call in your magic, you call in your soul family, your soul song spirit family. Your soul spirit family is the most powerful family in the world. You have, of course, your DNA family, the blood tie, your brothers, your sisters that have come through the bloodline. Then you have this soul family, that's the soul family where you make friends. And then you have a soul family as well when no matter what happens, a person stays in your life for years and years, but you're not even family related. And then you have the most powerful. You have twin souls, you have relationship souls. The most powerful is the spiritual soul family. So when you're working this way, we are activating our spiritual soul family or our soul song spiritual family. However, that is the most powerful. So that's what we've invoked and that's what you felt because you are part of this great soul spirit family.
It's kind of making my mind go completely blank.
Yes, that is known as the expansion. So what's happening is your consciousness expanding beyond words. And this expansion, you have to experience it to know it exists. Of course, with all the divine work you've been doing, it is easy for you to go into that expansion in a matter of seconds. So that is just the essence of who you are.
It's really beautiful just to describe it for anyone who's watching this, you know, then what I experience is there is no question, there's simply bliss and complete and utter peace.
Yes, yes.
There's nothing to be said, there's nothing to be thought really, but it's just a state of resting, deep peace and bliss.
It's unconditional love. We call it, it is called unconditional love. However, when you experience it, it is not unconditional love, it is beyond that. It is bliss and yet it is beyond. It is that inner knowing. It is in that void of darkness when you are one with the stars and the galaxy and the cosmic energy. You're one. There is a nothingness and yet there's a completion. There's a beginning and an ending and then there's no beginning and no ending. So it's, as you say, using the word bliss. It is a bliss. It is a bliss.
How do you, as Togs, come to connect with these energies and be doing this work that you're doing today?
Yes. When I was little, I was very ill and almost died.
What was your illness? What happened?
It was malaria. I was in Nigeria. So I thought, and my father is a gynecologist, and he came and gave me injections for many years, for many days. And all I could see was this man and woman, a witch, and they had made me ill to steal my soul. And I was a little girl, I was like not a teenager, just beginning, and I kept saying, you can't take me, you can't take my soul, you can't take my soul, you can't take my spirit. And they went, you belong to us, you are ours. And I kept saying, no, I'm not. And I suddenly realized, now I know what was happening, but then I was just a little girl. And what happens is that you have what they call soul stealers, people who come and steal your soul when you're innocent and pure. So usually it can happen in childhood. It can happen when a person starts their spiritual energy. Can happen when you're taking too many drugs or drinking and then someone will steal your soul because your soul may be pure, but they'll leave a vessel of emptiness. So fortunately for me, of course, I had, unknown to me, I had the protection. So I was able to say no when they came. So every night around 4 a.m. or so, they'd come knocking through my window. My father wasn't there. I was alone. So I had to face it. It was either I got frightened by them or I didn't. And they were the people who were coming to visit my father. I knew them. I knew who they were. And I had told my father that they were evil. And he had punished me because you don't say to people, they're not good. It's not the done thing. You know, it's old school. You know, children are seen and never speak in public. So that was my first experience of my spiritual energy. I experienced what we call the soul stealers, the spirit stealers who want to steal your purity. And unknown to me was one of my first spiritual tests. And then, so from a small child, I knew. And the first book I ever put against my heart was a book by Siddhartha, Quietly Comes the Buddha, which was Siddhartha Gata, the original Buddha, and I didn't know anything. But those were all the signs that were coming as a child. So I was constantly punished for saying the wrong things and saying this person's good, is going to take your money away, going to do this. So I was constantly punished as a child.
So your family were not in any way spiritual?
Oh yes, my father was a chief. He was a shaman. He knew, but it wasn't the done thing. Even though I could be right, he couldn't accept that I could be right because I was a girl.
Okay.
Yes, and he was a professor, a shaman, a doctor, a gynecologist. Was at royal functions in the 1950s with the Queen, with the royal family. I had invitations and all that. So he was educated and spoke Latin. And when he was angry with me, he spoke Latin. And I thought he was angry with me, so I'd cry, not realizing he was actually saying Latin prayers. Because my father didn't punish you or keep a bad thought. He would make a Latin prayer when I was naughty. But he said to me that I was so easy to punish because my soul was pure. Yeah. And he said to me that I was so easy, but I was stubborn. If I asked him for something and I said no, I would walk away. My sister would beg and get it, and then he'd come and say, "You didn't come back." But my soul, my spirit was so strong in me. When I ask for help, I ask. If you don't want to give it to me, I withdraw. So I said, "I'll find the money and buy myself a pair of trousers," I said to him. He came and later on gave me the money. He asked me how, as a child, I was going to find this money. I said I didn't know, but I was going to find the money. So the beams of light have always been with me. And this energy vortex has always been there. That inner strength that even if I want something and you say no, it's all right. I will step back and go back and say, Source, provide this for me. The most important thing, my lovely little goddess before me, my beauty, my starlight that you are, is today is one of those kind of days where, as a crone, I am sitting with you and the being of light filming us. And it is one of my dreams answered that I had, that one day I would meet people just like you who would love me without questioning. And that's how I know that the legions of light and the power and this bliss you talk about is available and is there. And of course, when we live our mundane lives, it's very difficult because our mundane lives say we have to pay bills, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to understand each other, we have to be tolerant. Even within our soul family connection, we have difficulty in understanding, communicating, in understanding the concept of love. I'm giving you this love, but no, this thing you're giving to me is not love. For me, that's not love. My love needs to be expressed this way. So if we don't communicate, so we can communicate in bliss. When we come to the physical aspect of our body, we need to communicate with words, with dialogue, with looking at our eyes, with listening, with body language. And sometimes this is not easy. Mm-hmm. And even whether you're in a relationship or with family or brothers and sisters, in a business, it's very hard. And all of a sudden, people can just get angry. So you allow them to be angry, and then you need to step back and say, how did I contribute to this? Mm. And it may be that you didn't contribute. It may be that it is one of your lesson plans. And maybe it's one of your lesson tests. And that's one of the things you need to go forward. So for me to do my journey I was never going to have children or be married. And that's all I wanted.
That's all you wanted?
All I wanted was to have children and be married. And that wasn't my spiritual soul journey. So when I had children and I lost them, the last one I cried. And then one day I cried. I drove my car to try and commit suicide, to kill myself.
How old were you when this was?
In my late 30s or 40s. I drove the car. The doctors told me that my baby had died in me. So I got in the car, took an ice cream, licked the ice cream, got in my car, and I drove to go and hit another car. And what happened was that the window of my car hit another car, and then I heard a download. You will stop driving now. It is not your time to die. You are not meant to have. You are not meant to have. These are not your pathways. You are spiritual. You will stop the car. You will go home right now. You have a Buddhist meeting. You'll go and chant, and you will not say a thing to anyone. And I thought, wow, heavy duty. So I went to my Buddhist meeting and I chanted Nam-myoho Renge Kyo with the group, and everybody saw me crying. And I was happy. It was my 20th year of chanting. And my 20th year of chanting, met me with no children. I was my baby didn't have a heartbeat. So a few days later, I started to bleed. And my mother came in and she screamed at me and she said, "You're supposed to be a healer. What you doing? Answering phone calls and acting and your baby's coming out of you bleeding." Because a client called and I just changed. "Yes, hello, Togs Coker here. Can I help you?" I changed from pain to professional. Helped the person who was crying on the phone, put down the phone. My mother witnessed it and screamed at me. Meanwhile, I'm now bleeding. Then my partner says he can't go out with me because I'm not a healer and I'm losing the babies. Therefore, I could not possibly be a healer and I could be nothing. So you can imagine the test here. So I thought, wow. So
Togs, how many, you said babies, so how many times did this happen?
Twice that I know of, but I'm told it's 4 times.
Yeah.
But I know of 2 times with the same man, that my soulmate, my soul sexual spiritual mate, whereby when I made love to him, it was going straight into spirit. Making love to him was, but you see, although it happened for me, it didn't necessarily happen for him. So you may have a soul connection. It may be divine, spiritual, sacred sex. It may happen for you, may not happen for the other person. And then it may happen for them, but they may not admit it because they think that you're taking control. So again, having sacred sex, having an intense relationship for the other partner to understand it, and even for the group of friends around your people is another dimension. You have to only know. So a few years later, when he said to me, to ask him for forgiveness, to apologize deeply that he shouldn't have treated me the way he did. Many things he said that I can't repeat here, but made me question myself as a healer. So that was another spiritual test.
So just to kind of summarize that
Yeah.
part of this, everything you really wanted to be a mother was denied at least twice. You were criticized for the way that you were behaving.
Yes.
You were told by those closest to you that you were not meant to be a healer because of this. So how did you respond to those huge challenges, to your knowing and your desires, like your desires as a human,
Yes.
and then the sort of the higher calling? Like, how did you respond to that?
There were 2, what I call crones, 2 older ladies who came to chant with me. So we chanted Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and pushed me out.
What do you mean they pushed you out?
Pushed me out of just sitting in my flat and being in my pain. They made me go and MC a Buddhist meeting with thousands of people in front of it. You know what I mean? So they pushed me out. They came here and chanted with me. But what helped was when I was sitting here in my flat. And as I was sitting here in my flat, I heard, "Mummy, mummy, mummy." And I turned round and I was looking, I'm not a mummy. Who's calling me a mummy? And then I saw a golden Buddha, a golden baby Buddha. And I went, "Who are you?" And I kept saying, "Mummy, mummy, mummy." And I got angry. I said, "I don't want a golden Buddha. I wanted a real baby that I could breastfeed and come out and whatever." And the baby kept very quiet. "Golden Buddha, absolutely golden Buddha." And said, then I heard a voice, not the baby. The golden Buddhas just kept saying, "We love you and thank you." And then I heard a verse saying, we had to experience a human body that was pure for us to be in that body and then come out. We were never meant to come out. We wanted to experience what it was like to be in a human body and then leave. And I broke down and cried, and I realized another spiritual test. And I realized that I'd already had a baby, that I'm a mother. It didn't come through, but I was a mother. And then I realized that this is my legacy. My legacy, because when I asked, what's my legacy? I saw a golden Buddha, and the energy that came through was that my spiritual work is my legacy. What I do beyond what is the physical. Some people, they have children, and at the age of 40, they're doing their spiritual work. I was doing it from a little child. So it was, the marking was there, but I wanted to live in the real world. And I fought it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, no, I am meant to look after other people's children and help people have children when they couldn't have children and give them the power, because I've gone through that pain. I've lost, and on the day that I buried my father, on my birthday, 7th of July, was also the day I was losing my final child, bleeding. So the 7th of July represents my birthday, the burial of my father, and the bleeding of my child. And in my culture, when a father dies, sometimes you have to lose a child, and the death of a child, of the eldest child, i.e. myself, protects the living people. So again, I was like a human sacrifice. But you have to understand this from a spiritual, vibrational, life and death. So you give life. My father had died. My baby was bleeding out of me. So there was another death. There were 2 deaths. What is that? Life and death, the rebirth of something, and the protection. In the culture, it represented that losing my baby was me as the elder protecting my brothers and sisters, who are my children. So it's a different philosophy. It's not easy to comprehend. But when you go into the vibration of spiritual law, it's different from human law. Yeah. You can forgive someone who's killed you or murdered you or hurt you deeply. The father of my children, I used to pray for him to die. But really, I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to transform and come back to me with love. Today, he's not married. He has no kids. He said to me the other day, if I found a younger version of you, I would marry her without thinking. Because, of course, I was 13 years older than him. So it's interesting. We're now good friends. We talk on the phone because I was determined to make sure I purified this before I left this earth. I was not going to come back with that energy. I was going to challenge all the pain and be able to still smile, because now I'm a crone.
So what is the purpose of your being? You said before at the very beginning you were incarnated as a man before, you're incarnated as a woman now.
Yes.
Do you have a strong sense of your purpose in this lifetime?
Yes. I believe that one of my strengths is anchoring the male and female within a person. So you can be strong as a woman and strong as a man, and you can have both energies balanced within you. It's easy to want to be strong. I'm a man. I'm a woman. We're both the same. So I can be feminine, woman, warrior power. And I can be masculine, man, warrior power. But both energies are within me. And my name, Tokes, is a name for both male and female. And my English name, Beverly, is a male for both male and female. So even my parents named me names that were both male and female. So even before my time, before I was aware, my parents, unknown, were doing the right things, calling me a name or 2 names that were both for male and female. Yes. So I feel that my work that I do is helping others or individuals to come back home to themselves. Because we're so scattering our energy, listening to other people's points of view, giving us judgments about our relationship, about our business, about our family, when if we just came home to ourselves, to our heart, we pulled ourselves in. Just like that. I pull myself back in. And through that, we come and settle back home in ourselves. Because our first body, our first home is our physical body. And if we're not comfortable with our physical body coming home, how can we be comfortable in another relationship, in a business, in another home, with another person, in another group or community? I believe that the community helps in relationships, and a community of the right gathering can help a person through their pain. So through my pain of loss, I had the gathering of a few friends who were there to help me. And it was not easy. I cried every day for 10 years, but nobody knew, because I didn't reveal it, because it was my private pain and my spiritual test. It took a long time, not because I was depressed, no, but because I had to deal with the reality of the work. And somebody said, oh, if you were a healer, you should have done it better. I said, no, because I'm a healer, I'm healing my physical energy body at my pace, not a spiritual pace. The spiritual pace is immediate, but then you have to download that energy into your physical body and live with it. Otherwise, you could have a breakdown. You could go suicidal. If you don't bring down that energy portal into your being and ground that pain, anything could happen to you. So there's the healing, that's the spiritual aspect, but there's the healing of your body. Your mind, body, and spirit have to come together in you because you're incarnate in the physical.
That's so important. I think a message for everyone to hear, because there can be this tendency to judge anyone who's a spirit, sort of presenting themselves as a healer or a spiritual teacher, that they need to have their shit together. But actually, the reality is very different, and your own story really demonstrates that.
Yes.
It's actually confronting the pain,
Yes.
feeling the pain,
Yeah.
allowing oneself to be with it rather
Yes.
than having this constant smile and whatever else is expected, perhaps.
Yes. So we don't want to hold back. We have the angel of tears. Water is flow. You want to flow. Water is flow. So the tears are angels of tears helping you to cleanse your energy. So when I was crying in my pain, I would say, these are tears of joy. These are tears of victory. These are tears of happiness and love. I would be crying deeply. And sometimes my cry would be, and I would howl. And it would be silence of the pain. It would be so much. And then after I've cried, I'd cry for an hour or sometimes 3 hours non-stop, and I'd howl, and you wouldn't hear me howl because it was the silence of the pain was deep. And then I'd howl, my voice would come out because that is pain. And then pain that makes you have insight and beauty beyond. And then after that, I'd go, okay, I've cried for 2-3 hours. Now I spend the rest of the day being happy. So I allocated time for me to go through my pain and my sorrow as I dealt with my daily life of paying for my mortgage, paying my bills, making sure I ate good food, doing one activity after the other, looking after my clients, doing my moon meditation. I had to go through that. You see, my lovely little goddess, you are beautiful because of the pain you are going through and the pain you have gone through. You emerge. Even a butterfly has to emerge with fighting through to reveal itself from its cocoon. And that is what healers are constantly doing. As a healer, you are human here, living here. You've chosen to incarnate here on a physical body. You know your connection to divine is easy. You can do it just like that. It happens because you've been training yourself for years, especially when you get to my age and I'm a crone. You cannot be a crone until you're a certain age and had lots of experiences. So that pain you've gone through is what I call your spiritual deliverance, your spiritual revolution, your spiritual evolution, your spiritual ascension. For in that pain, where is your power? So I activate my power through my pain. I call forth my pain. I wear it. Pain come. I take my pain and I live it. And through this pain I release my karmic chains. I set myself free, for I am free, I am free, I am free, I am free. Even with the chains of pain, I am free, I am winning in my pain. My tears are tears of victory. My tears are tears of winning, for I am winning in my pain. I am winning in my pain. And then I would allow myself to heal, to face my pain, not deny it. You see, if you deny your pain, then you have dis-ease, you have cancer, you have schizophrenic, you have trauma. post-traumatic stress. You have many symptoms. And then you begin to lie to yourself. Your chakras, they frizzle. Your throat chakra frizzles because you're not communicating your truth. Your crown chakra shuts down as you go into depression. Your third eye doesn't even believe that you have a future, so you block it all off. Your base chakra feels stuck where you are, so there's no movement. Your solar plexus doesn't want to flow. It's not listening to its gut. It's saying, oh, my choice of a relationship was wrong. My choice of the business decision was wrong. No, it wasn't wrong. It was not wrong. The solar plexus says you can't do anything. When you know, I can win. There is a solution. There is a solution to every problem. However, in that solution, in the soul song, how are you singing? How is your song singing? So your soul song is your joy and your happiness. So sometimes your soul will howl like a wolf. And sometimes it'll laugh like a happy dog. You know? So when you connect with your soul song, as you live in this incarnation and connect with spiritual beings, legions of light, know that they are always around you, even in your deepest of pain, and especially in your deepest of victory. So we allow ourselves the reality of living here on earth, because from what I have seen, some of the greatest leaders had a lot of pain. Some of the greatest leaders and greatest healers were crucified and attacked and killed by the people around them. So if you or I or anyone feels crucified or attacked or judged, that's fine. If that happened to Buddha and it happens to you, brilliant. Well, thank you for criticizing me. Thank you for telling me I'm nothing, because now I know I am working with the energy of the Buddha. I'm working with the energy of Christ consciousness, because as I am being criticized by you, I am healing myself. I am coming back home to myself to realize, to extract what doesn't serve me, and that is your criticism, because it's not mine, it's yours. I'm dealing with my own issue, my own human revolution. So as I work with my own human revolution, a few years later they go, oh, Tokes, you're blooming. You have a place. You got this. Yes, you got this. I go, yes. Why would you think I didn't have it? Why would you think I didn't have it? Because you were in pain. I said, but that was the past. It's not my pain's not my future. That was my energy of now when I was going through that now. So in your soul song, you have to talk to yourself, your mind, body, spirit. You have to work on many fundamental levels. And that's easy. So welcome any pain and know that it's your soul song. And then the soul song will transform. You will transform to something even more beautiful, even more radiant. Yeah.
Have you got a message that you would like to share with the world in parting?
Yes. Be kind to each other. Be kind to each other. If we just keep it simple, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. If you could have more kindness in your life, and if you could express more kindness, there would be more kindness around you. So I know that a lot of you have gone through pain, and you've gone through emotions. You've been betrayed, you've been dishonored, you've been criticized. You may have even been raped on various levels and various foundations. Yes, that's your past. It's not your future. That's your lesson. That was your soul song. Create a new soul song and say to yourself, I decide to be kind to me. I decide to be kind. Forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself, no matter what. And we have a concept called Honimyo, starting from now. So keep activating the statement Honimyo, starting from now. It is Sanskrit, a Buddhist concept. Honimyo, starting from now. So starting from now, I choose kindness for myself and for the people around me. I forgive myself because others, I choose to be kind to myself. I choose to be kind. And once you start being kind to yourself, you can be kind to others and you can receive kindness. And just because you were beaten doesn't mean you need to beat another person. Because you were abused doesn't need to. You don't need to follow through with that karmic pattern. Change it. I change the pattern. I change with ease because I choose kindness. I choose to forgive you. I'm sorry. I love you. I choose kindness. I choose kindness for myself, for my healing. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I know our interview's almost at an end, but I just have to ask you this, and I just want to know about your decorations.
Yes. The feathers
Yeah.
represent my connection to the air, the elementals, but also to the cosmology, to the North Star. So I'm constantly connected to the galactic frequencies, the stars, the planets, the Milky Way, Sirius, Pleiades. That's my connection. So that's eagle energy. Mm-hmm. So that represents the hawk, mm-hmm. the air elements. This the crown is made by my daughter, my granddaughter. So my daughter, Alicia Harrison, made this for me. So her mother was told she wouldn't have kids, and my father came to me in the blessing and we saw a child. So Alicia is my grandchild in my world. Yeah. And she made this for me and gifted it to me on my birthday. So it is pure rose quartz. Yeah. With amethyst, and at the top is lapis lazuli. So she made this and gifted to me. That's my granddaughter. Remember I told you about, so it's my granddaughter. And then here, on this bit here, is I have 3 rose quartz hearts that are wrapped in to represent the Trinity. So it would say Isis, Osiris, and Horus, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Yeah, so Trinity, all Trinities merged into one. And of course, me as a crone, And then we have the feathers. So the feathers are, my guide is Hands of Light. He's a shamanic Native American, but that's how he came to me. He's actually, that's the front he presents to me.
Is that the voice that you were channeling most of the time?
Yes.
That's Hands of Light?
Yes, that's Hands of Light, and that's sometimes Hands of Light channeling through me, and then sometimes I channel light language, which is when I'm doing my moon meditations, I would go into light language. So the feathers represent that vibration of being here on earth. So the crystals are the earthing energy to earth me. Mm-hmm. Then the dot is the void. We start with the dot and atom. So that represents how we start life. But when we see a dot on a piece of paper, do we just look at the dot, or do we look at the expansion of the paper? And I think that's what all this is about. And I love lipstick, red lipstick. I don't know. Okay. Yes.
So you just mentioned light language.
Yes.
I have come across this before, but I think many people watching might not. So can you tell us, what is light language?
Okay. Light language is when you enter a space within and you connect to the stars. It could be Hermes, Atlantis, Thoth, Isis. You can connect to any of the stars, the extraterrestrial aliens. So you connect, and everyone has a vibration they connect to. Mm-hmm. And then through that you speak in a language that is not understood, because it's light language. Mm-hmm. And at my moon gatherings, I tend to do this with my crystal singing bowls, and I invoke, and then the language comes through.
And what is its purpose? And that's a really functional question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Light language changes your DNA immediately. It works on a vibration that's very high because it's a channeled note. And you have to be in that space. And you have to be in a space of expansion. I'll see if I can do it. So you go into a space and you come out of your body and you connect to frequency, and then it speaks through you. So it's light language. And what it's doing, it's blessing. The sound is blessing, and it's going and piercing through. So it's a healing sound, and it's a greeting sound. So because of this, I wanted to see what would come. So it was like a blessing. I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's like something takes over.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I make funny faces, which I wouldn't make because I'm human and I'm vain. But when I'm working, it's like, and we greet you, legions of light, and we greet you, light language. We call you in, and as we call you in, we set ourselves free. Hello. It's nice to see you and to feel you.
I'm dying to ask you 1,000 more questions.
Yes.
But we have to bring our interview to an end. So I thank you so much for your sharing. It's taken us on quite a journey into many different realms, really. But there's some really juicy messages there for everyone and for me too. So thank you.
Thank you. We are honored.
And thank you so much for watching and being with us. Thank you to Tokes so much, and to Hands of Light and all of the other energies who've been here with us. And join me again next time on Heart to Heart with me, Shakti Sundari.